she's going 50. That's not out of control. That's not reckless for a trained driver. But she is dead.
This cop realizes that he's run over someone, but his reaction to this? Yep. Cops like these get caught out like this all the time for their misdeeds, and let's go through one by one.
Okay, this. Put him in my shirt. Hey, Gamble.
Oh, we got some cocaine.
Oh.
Yeah, everything here.
Here's our first cop squad who stole thousands of dollars from an innocent man. The story begins in a quiet corner of Missouri, where routine eviction takes a dark turn. Two officers, Sheriff Traylor Harris and Sheriff Banks, were tasked with helping clear out a tenant's belongings. Sounds simple, right? But things got murky pretty fast. Instead of following the rules, Harris and Banks decided to help themselves to the tenant's valuables. Watches, jewellery, you name it, they pocketed it. And what's worse, they thought they could get away with it by turning off their body cams. But fate had other plans. One of the cams stayed on, capturing their every whispered word and shady move. As they rummaged through the tenant's stuff, it felt like something out of a horror movie. They didn't just take what they wanted, they invaded the tenant's privacy, rifling through personal belongings like it was a free-for-all. But the little scheme didn't stay hidden for long. A week later, the owner filed a theft report, setting off an investigation that would expose Harris and Banks for the crooks that they truly were. In December 2022, justice finally caught up with Harris, who was convicted of theft by a public servant and slapped with 5 years of probation and a hefty fine. As for Banks, she managed to dodge prison time with a plea deal, but she couldn't escape the stain of corruption. And just like that, two officers who were supposed to protect and serve found themselves out of a job, their badges stripped away in disgrace.
You want to get tased?
Don't do it.
This is going to be so fun.
The property owners want you to leave. They said that you're banned. So if you come out and leave,
What have I done?
because you won't come out of the bathroom, they want you to leave.
I have diarrhea, vomiting. Is that a sin?
They said you've been here for 4 hours.
Well, time flies when we're having fun.
Either you can come out and leave or you can come out and go to jail. So you get to choose.
I'll tell you what, get an LH, ask him to escort me out.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm not getting LH.
In the heart of Tulsa, Oklahoma, a routine 911 call grew into a nightmare of cruelty and abuse. LaDonna, a 70-year-old woman in the throes of a mental health crisis, found herself locked inside a store's bathroom, refusing to emerge. As officers arrived on the scene, the situation grew increasingly tense. Officer Katia, with a sharp tongue and dirty demeanour, saw fit to mock LaDonna rather than offer help. Despite LaDonna's obvious distress, Katia joked about the situation, making light of a vulnerable woman's plight. Her body cam captured every cruel word, every heartless laugh, exposing a dark side of law enforcement that should never see the light of day. As Officer Katia continued to antagonize LaDonna, it became clear that her priority was not to de-escalate the situation, but to assert her authority with brute force. Threats of tasing and pepper spraying hung in the air, adding to LaDonna's fear and confusion. Officer Katia's callous disregard for LaDonna's well-being only exacerbated the situation, pushing her further into distress. Even as LaDonna begged for mercy, Officer Katia remained unmoved. Her only concern seemed to be the exertion of power over a helpless woman. It was a disturbing display of cruelty and abuse, one that should never be tolerated in a civilized society. Thankfully, reinforcements arrived before Officer Katia could carry out her threats, preventing further harm to LaDonna. Yet, the damage had already been done. LaDonna had been subjected to unnecessary humiliation and violence at the hands of those sworn to protect and serve. When footage of the arrest went viral, it sparked outrage across the nation. Many demanded accountability for Officer Katia's actions, calling for her to be held responsible for her egregious misconduct. Yet, despite the public outcry, the police department chose to turn a blind eye, refusing to take any action against Officer Katia or her fellow officers.
Alright, so you are going to jail today for possession of methamphetamine.
I swear, don't do this.
Do you recognize this bottle right here that was in the trash bag by any chance?
Yeah, it's the one you got you guys in it.
Okay, alright. Look, at this point, you are detained, okay? Alright? I ain't gonna put you in handcuffs in front of your kids or anything like that, but I need to ask you some questions, okay? That white little Excedrin bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottom corner, with the way it was positioned, I opened it up, there is a crystallized substance in the bottle of that bottle, in the bottom of it, okay? I tested it there, it did return a presumptive positive for methamphetamine here on the side of the road.
The next case happens in Florida, where a routine traffic stop turned into a nightmare for an innocent couple with their children. Deputy Wester, no stranger to controversy, decided to frame one of the passengers for possession of narcotics, all while thinking nobody was watching. His actions, captured on his own body camera, revealed a shocking abuse of power. Pulling over a seemingly random vehicle, Deputy Wester set his sights on fabricating evidence of drug possession. With 3 terrified children in the back seat, he concocted a false narrative intending to incriminate one of the passengers. Little did he know every deceitful word was being recorded for the world to see. As he returned to his patrol vehicle, Deputy Wester's true intentions emerged. Gloating about his deceitful plan, he felt good about the opportunity to ruin an innocent person's life. His callous disregard for the truth and the well-being of the family he'd pulled over was appalling. Deploying a canine unit, Deputy Wester hoped to manufacture probable causes for a vehicle search. Despite the lack of any actual evidence, he proceeded to search the vehicle, all while the family watched in horror. But it doesn't end there. He seized a legitimate medication bottle from the vehicle and manipulated a field drug test to falsely indicate the presence of methamphetamine. With calculated cruelty, he concocted a story to incriminate the innocent passenger, oblivious to the devastating consequences of his actions. As the family protested their innocence, Deputy Wester remained unmoved, determined to see his malicious plan through to the end. With callous indifference, he callously informed the passenger that she was being arrested for possession of methamphetamine, despite her vehement denials. Thankfully, Deputy Wester's deceit was eventually exposed, and he faced justice for his despicable actions. But the damage he caused to the lives of innocent people can't be undone.
Male driver, female passenger.
Turn off your body cam. Are you recording?
Yeah, we're hot.
Turn it off.
We can't shut it down. We got 10-15s. It's okay. Everything good?
Just check it out for a second.
Let's take a look at a situation where an officer wanted his colleague to turn off his body camera. This happened during a traffic stop. The police pulled over a person because they thought they'd stolen a trailer. The person said that they didn't steal anything, but the police still wanted to figure out what was going on. So far, everything seemed okay. But then one officer asked his colleague to turn off his body cam. This was strange because body cameras are supposed to stay on during police interactions. They help keep things transparent and fair, but the colleague didn't want to turn it off. He knew it was important to keep the camera on, even if the other officer asked him to turn it off. The first officer really wanted the camera off. Maybe he had a personal reason for it, but the colleague stood his ground. He knew that turning off the camera wouldn't be right. He wanted to follow the rules and keep everything honest and above board.
I think she went up on the hood, hit the windshield, then when he hit the brakes, flew off the car. But she is dead.
In another case, an officer said some really mean things about a woman who got hurt in an accident involving the police. The officer joked about it, which wasn't okay at all. It's important for police officers to show respect and care, especially when someone gets hurt. These incidents show why body cams are so important. They help keep everyone honest and accountable. When something goes wrong, there's a record of what happened. This helps make sure that justice is served and that people are treated fairly. In the first case, the officer who wanted to turn off the camera was trying to hide something. Maybe he didn't want people to see what was happening, but his colleague knew that turning off the camera would be wrong. He understood the importance of transparency and followed the rules. In the second case, the officer made hurtful comments about a tragic accident. This showed a lack of empathy and professionalism. It's important for police officers to remember that their words and actions have consequences. Body cameras help hold them accountable for what they say and do. Overall, body cameras play a crucial role in ensuring fairness and transparency in law enforcement. They help build trust between police officers and the communities that they serve. What do you think about the actions of these cops? Do drop your thoughts below, and thanks for tuning in. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing for more updates. Take care, and we'll be back with another one.